Hello world, I am What If Study, and today we are doing What If Deku Was Cursed to Toga, Part 8. We continue off from when, a muscular burst straight through the concrete, immediately setting his sights on Deku and, the younger kid. He instantly charges straight at the kid, saying that he remembers him from when he's, from his parents and shit. He starts instantly explaining, the little kid starts explaining that his father and mother were killed by that villain. And, of course, he goes immediately after the one that has the most fear. However, Deku immediately snaps his hand straight to the wall next to him. As then, Muscular looks up to him and he says, "Oh, and a little kid wants to stand in my way. Sure, I wanted to murder too anyways today," as he basically snaps his neck back and then punches straight at Deku. However, Deku appears immediately behind his wrist. He says, "How lousy an attack, especially to put your face in your opponent's face. That's really, really risky. I won't kill you now though." As immediately Muscular is like, "What the fuck?" And then he immediately tries to go for an uppercut and grinds it against the ground, causing almost an earthquake with that punch. And then it basically, goes straight past Deku. He immediately puts on the quirk amplifier, as then he says, "Oh, you must be the guy that fought Stain. That's why you're so powerful. Well, you won't be able to defeat me with this." As he immediately puts on the quirk amplifier, Deku notices the quirk amplifier on his face and says, "Oh, what little toy do we have here? It's not going to help you against a god." As then, Muscular's like, "This little kid really thinks he's so cocky." What do we do to little kids back there? Oh yeah, we torture them. As he immediately charges straight at Deku and punches him right in his face. However, Deku barely even reacts. He doesn't even move from his spot, as he had sunk his legs into the ground. But Muscular's like, "What the fuck?" As he immediately gets uppercutted straight into the air, almost flying a few feet up into the air. As then Deku unsinks one of his feet to kick him right in the stomach, tossing him off the mountain. Rolling down the hill, his spine rips straight into the trees. He rolls down the hill, crashing into multiple, 10 trees that all collapse around him. As he struggles to get up, he bursts straight out of the trees out of anger. However, Deku immediately, just jumps straight down, kicking straight into Muscular's foreskin on his bare chest, not paralyzing him almost. He's stunned for just a second. However, he tries to move and he can barely do it. He says, "Well then, hero, if you murder me." He says, "I know. It won't be me, though. Mr. Boulder will do it for me." As Muscular's like, "What do you..." As Deku hops out of the way of a gigantic boulder that was rolling down, surely he had kicked before. And it crushes Muscular's head. All of his brains reflect everywhere. Some missing Deku, and some not. Shamefully to his leather jacket that he had put on for the whole festival. Toga had made this for me. Imbecile wouldn't even know what the meaning of that is anymore. After all, he's dead. That doesn't matter now. Toga might be in danger. As he immediately hops up into the air, onto the trees, running away as, leaving Koda just to be in absolute terror. As he looks over and sees Muscular dead, he's like, "Holy shit." What the who was that? And Deku hops around seeing all the different battles, Momo battling Colonel fucking Mustard, who has taken out quite a lot of students. And the villains are mostly winning. However, without Kirigiri here, wasn't it Kitogiri? Yeah, it was Kitogiri. Without Kitogiri here, they're not able to, manipulate the enemy just as much. However, they just double their efforts into their strength, which reflects in sort of the knife for teeth dude just instantly trying to take out Tsukiyomi. However, Tsukiyomi powers up with Ojiro, and Ojiro is able to just destroy the knife teeth guy. I mean, he's more powerful than Tsukiyomi in his dark form, and that's his dark form is caused earlier in the fights, and Ojiro was able to stop Tsukiyomi from going full power by knocking him out almost instantly. The big guy. And that's super impressive. That's like All Might level status. He has improved quite a lot, Deku can see. However, he's still not even impressed. He continues hopping along the trees as, fucking Bakugo is fighting. Who was Bakugo fighting in the original? I don't remember who Bakugo was fighting. Anyways, Bakugo is basically fighting All for One. And, that's not going over well for him. However, Bakugo does get in some good hits. However, All for One is basically torturing him by this point by making him feel so weak and under his boot. This sort of changes Bakugo as a character later. And Momo finally overpowers him with sheer numbers by using all of Class 1B, going through all the clouds and finding Colonel Mustard. A lot of them almost die from Colonel Mustard, however, they win the day in the end. However, that's not until the end of the battle, which Deku was looking over the battle during the middle of it. And then he hops down finding Toga, with all the villains, and, the Marble guy, Mr. Marble, Captain Marble dude, whatever the fuck, and Twice fighting her, and, Marble dude just hit her over the head with a lead pipe, not even kidding. She had taken out many, many clones, as Deku can see from the bodies. However, she was finally knocked out, and she was making her way to Deku. Clearly, she was making her way straight to Deku's position. He could tell from her tracks. He looks over as he sees all of them start to shake in their head, and their boots, like all the clones just start to just freeze in terror as they just realized who the fuck they just pissed off. And Deku immediately charges straight after them, right? Toga falls dead asleep, knowing that Deku will, beat up their asses. However, when she wakes up, all the battles have ended as I had said they would, and Deku is actually gone. They start making their way because of Toga making the tracker still, and all of the heroes tag along, of course, and the top heroes start to do the ambush, of course, immediately with All for One charging in first. Classic stuff. And then the Tiger Woods actually saving Deku and taking him out to see Toga out in the middle of the huge city. Now, Deku sits down and instantly is eye to eye with Toga, and she immediately hugs him. However, he kind of untangles himself from her arms as he says, "No, this isn't right. No, hold up. Let me just... I need to go and finish what I had started. Sorry. You're not supposed to be here." She's like, "What do you mean, my love?" He's like, "Oh my god, no. Okay. I'll be right back out. You stay right here. I'll be right back out. All right? Bye. As he kisses her on the cheek, he immediately jumps straight back into the huge fight between all 10 heroes. She thought that he was going to be super injured. However, it looked like he had barely even been hurt. He thought that they were torturing him. However, all she hears is 10 shockwaves come from the place, as she could count that out for almost every single hero and villain. And suddenly, All for One starts shooting across the sky, across into a freaking, into an apartment building. He barely gets up until Deku immediately smacks him back down to the ground, plowing his face into the side of the skyscraper and using him as sort of a bulldozer and just bulldozing the ground with his face, crushing it even more than it was, destroying his mask. And right at the end, before he can throw him, he grabs onto his arm, ripping it off, and then starts beating him with his own arm. And then once he's done, with an uppercut straight to his stomach with his own hand, he immediately, he activates the quirk on his arm that makes it all drilly, and he spears it straight into his head. as he's flying using the fiery quirk that he had before, that we had discovered before, he, just like throws his body onto the ground in front of Toga as if he's presenting it as like a trophy. Everybody's like, the new symbol of peace. It's him. He's like, they see me as a god now. How cute. As he floats down to the ground in front of Toga, she's like, you did it. You killed him. He's like, yeah, I did. She starts kissing him, and then he's like, wait. One thing I need to do. As he starts to turn around, however, a reporter says, oh, this is my time. As she comes up and then says, hey, new symbol of peace, and your wife, Monster Girl, how are you guys, how will you guys be saying your marriage? Like, when is that going to happen? He says, Monster Girl, is that going to be official? Never mind, don't even answer. I don't need one. As he stares into Toga's eyes, his hand slowly shifts up to the reporter's face as he grabs onto it and starts to lift her into the air. Toga says, what are you doing? He says, don't worry. I'll make it quick. As he starts to crush the reporter's brains, as her whole, skull starts to fracture and then crush, her screams and shrieks don't even affect Deku. He just keeps on staring into her eyes. As all the reporters are getting recording of this, they're all they're just stone cold, just what the fuck. All the people are seeing this as they were watching, him being rescued and defeating the greatest villain. He's now becoming the greatest villain. He crushes her head inside of his hand and then holds up his hand with the brain matter inside of it up to Toga, and he says, ants, aren't they all? At least compared to us, Toga. She says, why? He says, well, why not? She was going to report you as Monster Girl. Doesn't that hurt? She says, why? Why don't I feel the pain of this? He says, you remember before? All the mental pain in the world. When we kissed, we can share things. That means I can take them too. I told you would feel no more pain. I would take all of that away. So I did. And I substituted out for mine. Every time you were hurt, we shared it. Not only shared it, but I took all of it. And it felt twice as hard. So Toga, please, don't be discouraged. And please, don't watch. As you know, 1 in a million guy comes out from the rubble, being like, you killed All for One? He says, oh, that's right. I guess I did punch him a little too hard. As he turns around to see the 1 in a million guy, he's like, you bastard! As he immediately goes straight into the ground and then tries to uppercut Deku and sends him sky high. As Deku immediately blocks the next punch that was aimed for his stomach and then twists around, throwing him as far as he can up into the sky because he can't fly. As long as he keeps him up in the sky, he keeps on uppercutting him and uppercutting until he can finally just come down with the big bang smash. Basically, just 2 sledgehammer hits to the face, and then brings him straight back down to the ground with a gigantic explosion, destroying multiple blocks of places. And he immediately and gets up from the rubble. All you little worms out there, tell me, as he looks up to the one reporter that's left with the camera and shit. He takes up this sort of microphone and says, all of the people left on this earth who wish harm against Toga or me, your end is close. Now, pray to your gods or whatever. Like I would care. As he throws the microphone so hard through the mic, well, the camera, that it pierces straight through the back of it and goes straight through the guy's head. Like a gigantic tank bullet going straight through him, and then into the apartments before him, As he falls down to the ground lifeless, she says, "Why?" He says, "For you." As he jumps up into the sky, he uses the fire below his feet, and then he remembers all of the pain that she's been through just because of the media, and then he bursts across the world, going to every single radar, every single thing that could ever transport any sort of information about her, any sort of deceiving things, any people that could coordinate against him. He destroyed it. He took up every single radar and smashed it into the air, and then punched it out into space. As he falls down to the ground, he uncloaks from his dark fire form. Toga was much farther away from him to even tell him anything. As he starts to make his way back, Ojiro rises from the ground, of the rubble basically, and starts fighting Deku. He immediately hits him with 3 different combos that Deku knew. As he stops all 3 of them, and then Ojiro hits him with an odder one that immediately upcuts him into the sky. However, Deku was so used to the sky, as Ojiro did not count on, as Ojiro had never seen his quirk. Deku then hugs him and then starts to crush him with a gigantic bear hug until 1 in a million guy immediately comes up and then takes up his legs and then throws them both down to the ground. As Ojiro holds on to him now, making sure that he was on the bottom, he smashes his Deku's face into the ground as hard as he can. This scars up the left side of his face and almost takes out his whole eye. Deku immediately powers up to 100% as he bursts out Ojiro. Ojiro is sent flying. As Ojiro smashes straight into a piece of rubble and snaps his spine on it, he falls to the ground lifeless. 1 in a million guys like, no! Shit, he was one of our most powerful. As Bakugo walked up, just as mad as Ojiro was. After all, Deku was one of his best friends. How could you? And Deku's like, how could I? He says, yes. I didn't come here to fight, but why, Deku? You dare question me? I do dare. Then you dare to die? I have been dying since day 1, since I met you. You, however, you were perfectly fine. What happened, Deku? Tell me. What had happened to you? He says, everything, Deku. I mean, Bakugo. Fuck. This whole world has injured her so many times. It has scarred her. I took it upon myself to protect her with her emotions and everything, and now I find myself regretting all of it. Regretting this world. I'll make it anew, don't you understand, Bakugo? You're talking like the villains! Don't you understand, Deku? You think I don't know? I know villains talk like this. But none with the charismatic, the will to finish it all. They all have selfish reasons. Mine is for love, Bakugo. If you can't see that, you're blind. Bakugo says, no! You're blind! To the villainy that has corrupted you! As he immediately uppercuts him with a howitzer blast, unlocking both of his gauntlets straight into Deku's face, blasting off the left side of his face. However, he arced it off to the left. This takes out Deku's left eye, and now he's bleeding profusely from his left side of his face. However, Deku just immediately uppercuts straight into Bakugo. His hand is stuck into Bakugo like a puppet. His hands are clasped around his jaws, so he can basically operate him like a puppet. He's like, I can make a great gag about this if I was funnier. As you know, 1 in a million guy was like, negotiations have failed, huh? God damn it, I'm just gonna have to go 100%. As he immediately punches Deku with his left arm, going 100%, and Deku just blocks that with his right. That's not enough, boy. As then Mirako immediately goes 1000% with his right, and then Deku uses his quirk to block the other. As then he says, still not enough, as he starts to get cloaked in full black. And then Deku, and then 1 in a million guys like, 1 million! And this is going to break his body, basically. And then he uppercuts with both hands, sending Deku straight up into the sky. However, Deku uses this time to just float there and then see the rest of this world. He says, it's truly imperfect. The people here, they hate each other so much. How do they live with themselves? I guess it was time to use this. As he picks out the eye enhancement, and he puts it straight into, where his eye used to be, the eye socket. As his place there had already been cauterized by the black flames. He falls straight back to the ground, right in front of Mirako. In front of everybody. And basically, everybody's like, holy shit, this guy's still alive. As then, 1 in a million guy just falls to his knees, just absolutely defeated, right? Deku, he's like, good try, dude. Good try. As he pats him on the back, and then just 2 seconds later, he just gets sent so far away, farther than anybody can see. Supposedly dead. Deku starts to make his way trying to find Toga, and then they initiate nuclear missiles on top of him. However, he can hear them start to order them, and he launches himself into the sky so that Toga would never be caught in the explosion. And he immediately grabs one and then shoots it, like goes round and round, and then throws it in front of the other ones, blowing them all up above Japan. He says, if you do that again, I might as well just aim those straight at Earth. If you don't want, they don't know I love Toga, so why would they risk it? As he falls back down to the ground, he says, Toga, I know you change into somebody else when you get scared. There you are. As he immediately walks around a corner and finds her. He says, come on, Toga. I'm not here to hurt you. But you've hurt so many people. You can get out of that body now, Toga. As he holds on to her, he says, hey, let's talk this somewhere else. As he lifts her up into the sky and then out of the city onto a mountaintop nearby. Mount Fuji, I think, would be the closest place that's the highest. He takes her to the top of there, gives her some clothes, and says, listen. Okay? I thought you would be happier than this. Jeez, you're really making me feel self-conscious here. That's because you murdered people, Deku! You killed Ojiro. You almost killed Momo. Did you even care about them? Yes, of course I cared about them. That isn't the point of this, is it? I care. I just care more about us. She's like, what? What if I don't believe in us? I would know you're lying then. She says, so what? This is all wrong. All wrong? But would you be saying that I did something wrong? I do what's best for both of us. Well, maybe you're wrong this time. You and me just don't work. You're infatuated with me, Deku. You don't love me. Toga. Don't you say that. She says, say what? The truth? Maybe you needed it. If all of this isn't what you wanted, you know what you have to do. No, but I wouldn't mean it. Then I'll say it together. Don't make me. I don't love you. I don't love you anymore. Well then, I don't want to live on a place like this then. As he leans really far in and kisses her on the mouth as hard as he can for as long as he can, holding it for a couple of minutes. He then lunges down and looks to her one final time into the planet that he's forsaken already, and jumps out into the outer space, crashing straight into the moon, drilling farther and farther and farther until she can feel nothing from him. Every signature that she has of him being alive is gone. She feels around her body and she feels nothing. None of the pain of being burnt up in space, none of the coldness. Nothing. The curse was gone. She can't help but look out into the view and, well, cry. That's all she can. She's been powerless since the beginning. What to do now? Well, that's only fate. But she made the best out of a bad situation, she feels. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll be sure to give you a status update on how Toga is doing in the future. I'll say maybe 200 likes to continue this, just to see how Toga does in the future. Because honestly, I don't know, this is pretty perfect to me. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you, my loyal viewers, and all those out there, loved it just as much as I did, because truly, this is my best, my absolute best from my heart. Takes a lot to not cry here, but, you know, it's been a journey, you know, a real journey. And I hope that you all were shocked and terrored. Terror. God damn it. How do I fuck up a sentimental moment? God damn it, guys. I'll just be seeing you sometime, somewhere. Signing off. Yours truly.